All right, let's just dive right into this explainer. Today, we're taking a really close look at the fascinating intersection of internet fortune-telling and human psychology. We're going to do this by looking through the lens of a specific digital experience out there called Soul Sketch Numerology. Now, what looks on the surface like a completely harmless, fun little online quiz is, in reality, an absolute masterclass in psychological design. We are going to deconstruct exactly how this interface leverages our deep-seated need for connection and certainty, basically transforming a super standard data gathering process into what feels like an incredibly intimate, bespoke romantic destiny.
So here is our roadmap for the breakdown. We'll start with Section 1, the allure of destiny. Then Section 2, the illusion of personalization. Section 3 covers the psychology of the Barnum effect. Section 4 is manufacturing trust through language. And finally, Section 5, the ultimate data transaction.
Okay, Section 1, the allure of destiny, or how they actually hook the user. It all kicks off by appealing to a profoundly human, deeply social desire for romantic fate.
Think about this for a second, because it really frames our entire analysis. What specific psychological levers is this interface pulling to make us just completely suspend our disbelief? I mean, in this highly logical, hyper-digital world we live in, why do we suddenly trust lines of code to understand the deep complexities of the human heart? Well, the answer lies in the sheer social appeal of algorithmically generated romantic destiny. We crave certainty, especially in an inherently uncertain area of our lives like romance, right? And an algorithm feels authoritative. It feels mathematical and objective. And honestly, this matters to you because these are the exact same psychological tactics powering those social media personality quizzes and highly targeted ads you are interacting with every single day.
Just listen to the opening prompt of this experience. Notice how the software instantly sets the stage. It doesn't just ask you to enter first name. Oh no, it says, "Greetings, seeker of love. What name shall I call you on this journey of the heart?" It immediately frames a standard, boring data entry field as this mystical adventure. By literally calling you a seeker, it elevates your status. You're no longer just a web user. You are suddenly the protagonist in this grand, sweeping, romantic narrative.
Moving right along to Section 2, the illusion of personalization. This is all about how data is framed.
Under the hood, the mechanical flow of the Soul Sketch experience is a massive contrast to that mystical narrative they just sold you. Strip away all the poetry, and what do you have? You have a totally standard data funnel. Step 1, name. Step 2, date of birth. Step 3, output. Step 4, email capture. If this looked like a standard corporate spreadsheet, absolutely no one would engage with it. The interface's success relies entirely on completely masking these mundane mechanical steps from you.
So to maintain that mask, instead of just asking for your input, the interface uses this incredibly flowery celestial terminology. It asks for a name that resonates with the stars, and a birth date under the celestial sky. It's designed to make you feel like your standard identifying information is cosmically significant. You aren't just typing in your birthday. You are aligning your digital presence with the cosmos.
The whole thing is essentially a brilliant sleight of hand, hiding a really simple calculation behind a veil of magic. On one side, you are offered this mystical promise written in the stars just for you. But the psychological reality, it is just a basic algorithmic transformation of your text inputs into subjective numerical predictions. The software calculates a number based on your birth date, plain and simple, but it presents that calculation as a profound, highly personalized spiritual insight.
Which brings us to Section 3, Psychology of the Barnum Effect, also known as the payoff. How exactly does the software convince you that its math is actually magic?
Well, it relies entirely on the Barnum effect, also known as the Forer effect. This is the psychological phenomenon where we fully believe that generic, universally applicable personality descriptions apply specifically and uniquely to us. It's the exact same reason we read our horoscopes and go, "Wow, that is literally so me." It works because the statements are cleverly designed to be a little bit vague, mostly positive, and applicable to pretty much anyone. We, as the users, end up doing all the heavy lifting by projecting our own specific life experiences right onto those generic descriptions.
The promises made by the love path are textbook triggers for the Barnum effect to take hold. It claims it's going to reveal your deepest romantic tendencies and your emotional strengths. Notice how it conveniently never offers to reveal your emotional weaknesses or your toxic traits? The descriptions are incredibly broad and overwhelmingly positive, because let's be real, everyone wants to believe they have deep emotional strengths and a specific kind of love that uniquely fulfills them.
The software categorizes users into just 9 possible love path numbers.
I really want to let that sink in for a second. Out of the billions of people on planet Earth, this interface sorts literally everyone into just one of 9 buckets. Yet it relies entirely on the Barnum effect to make each of those 9 generic buckets feel like a deeply unique, hyper-personalized insight. In your mind, you aren't just number 4 out of 9 options, you are a unique soul whose path vibrates at the frequency of 4.
Okay, Section 4, Manufacturing Trust Through Language. This is where we see the escalation. Once you actually feel seen and validated by the Barnum effect, the interface ramps up its requests. The software begins dangling this deeper, much more emotionally charged bait. It tells you, to delve deeper into your romantic essence, I need your full name at birth. Now remember, initially it just asked for a name to call you. Now, it requires your literal, full legal birth name. That is a huge escalation in privacy. But it tries to justify this intrusion by promising to unlock your heart's desire and love destiny. Look at the intense emotional narrative being built here with these triggers. Words like innermost desires, powerful vibration, and the truth about your soul's romantic purpose. I mean, those are loaded with psychological weight. They strongly imply that an individual, highly specific, romantic fate is just one click away. It builds this completely false sense of intimacy and trust with the software, basically manipulating you to be far more likely to comply with the very next final request. And finally, Section 5, the ultimate data transaction, the sinker. Literally everything we've discussed so far has been leading up to this exact moment. If you map out the exchange, you can clearly see the escalating economy of this transaction. Just look at how it scales. For a basic love path, you give up your date of birth. If you want to find your heart's desire, well, you have to escalate to your full birth name. And for the ultimate prize, the full transcript and soulmate secrets, you must hand over your direct email address. As the emotional weight of the promised reading goes up, the value of the personal data extracted from you increases symmetrically. And here is the final psychological hook. Where shall I send it? Notice that classic cliffhanger technique right there. There is still so much more that I have yet to reveal about your soulmate. It is brilliantly leveraging every single ounce of trust built through the Barnum effect to create massive FOMO, fear of missing out on your own literal destiny. It perfectly positions the software to secure its ultimate goal, your direct contact information. At the very end, the interface explicitly acknowledges the trust it has manufactured. Thank you for trusting me with your journey. The transaction of personal data for algorithmic reassurance is totally complete. You, the user, get the psychological comfort of a subjective numerical prediction about your love life, and the system gets a verified email address firmly attached to your full birth name and your date of birth. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a bit of a provocative thought. We have just seen how incredibly easy it is for our logic to be bypassed with the right combination of mystical language and well-placed psychological triggers. So the next time you find yourself casually clicking through a seemingly harmless online quiz that promises to reveal the deep secrets of your soul, you really have to ask yourself, when we interact with these beautifully designed, emotionally intelligent systems, who is actually reading whom?